I live a pretty decent life, like anyone from the middle class. Yeah, I owe the bank some money, like everyone else. And like most people in the middle class, I see myself as wealthy because of lifestyle markers, home ownership, cars, vacations. But the truth is that we remain trapped in financial vulnerability. I recently submitted a paper to the university exploring how the middle class is defined by high consumption but low wealth accumulation. Factors like debt, lack of financial literacy, and dependency on active income rather than assets contribute to their relative poverty. I also contrasted this with true wealth, which is built on passive income, investments, and financial security that extends beyond mere earnings. Now, this is a global perspective. I ask myself the question, why the middle class often remains stagnant instead of breaking into true wealth. When I say middle class, don't feel judged. You are in good company. The key issue here is that wealth for the middle class is often defined by overcoming past struggles rather than by achieving financial independence or generational security. Now, this gets personal. So I'm going to distance myself a little bit just for clarity and perspective. Their mindset is shaped by relief rather than strategy. They move from lack to comfort, but not from comfort to financial mastery. The danger is that they raise their children in this framework where stability feels like success rather than planting the seeds for wealth creation. We need to focus on shifting the paradigm from I have more than I used to I must build beyond what I have. Now, I will examine how financial literacy is often missing in middle-class households. The illusion of wealth through assets that don't generate income, such as a house that is a liability rather than an asset. The impact of debt and consumer-driven spending or wealth stagnation. How to train children beyond security and into investment, ownership, and asset multiplication. This could be a powerful call to action for families who think they have made it, but are actually in just a more comfortable version of financial instability. I'm going to be going back a step or two many times before I take you on to the next steps. So you have to be patient. For me, this is a self-talk rather than just talking. The middle class is often seen as a symbol of financial stability and upward mobility. However, a deeper analysis reveals that many who belong to this socio-economic group are trapped in a state of relative poverty while perceiving themselves as wealthy. Now, this paradox arises from a mindset shaped by comparison, where financial success is measured not by wealth accumulation, but by surpassing certain struggles. This middle-class mindset perpetuates economic stagnation across generations. And I want to offer a framework for redefining wealth in a way that fosters financial independence and generational prosperity. I want to learn and then share practical strategies for breaking this cycle, particularly in how parents shape their children's financial worldview. As a researcher, I read a lot, and there is a lot of literature that discusses poverty and wealth. But there is limited academic discourse on the middle class wealth illusion. Now, this self-talk aims to address the following questions. Why does the middle class remain relatively poor despite its perceived economic stability? How does the mindset of relief rather than financial mastery prevent upward mobility? What role do parents play in passing down financial habits that reinforce middle-class stagnation? What strategies can shift middle-class thinking from consumption-based security to investment-based wealth creation? Now, I want to examine the psychological and economic factors that keep the middle class in a state of financial vulnerability, to analyze generational wealth transfer patterns and how they contribute to financial stagnation, to propose actionable strategies for breaking the cycle and fostering true financial independence. My journey and quest was not straightforward. I adopted a clinical mixed methods approach because I wasn't primarily interested to just knowing. I wanted a plan of action. In academic research language, I conducted 3 things: literature review, examining existing research on wealth perception, middle-class financial habits, and economic stability. Number 2, case studies. That is, analyzing families who have broken out of middle-class cycle compared to those who remain stagnant. And number 3, surveys and interviews. That is, gathering data from middle-class individuals to understand their financial mindset, their habits, and generational wealth transfer practices. Let me tell you the significance of my findings and what will happen if you continue to listen to me. This has the potential to shift academic conversations on economic mobility by introducing new frameworks for understanding wealth beyond comparison or relative comparison. For my own edification, I want to challenge traditional perspectives on wealth and the middle class. For my own benefit, I need to articulate a framework for financial literacy programs targeting middle-class families and institutions. And I want to be practical so that I am able to apply what I am learning in the process. The middle class is often stuck beneath an invisible glass ceiling that keeps them from true wealth. I want to help myself, and by inviting others into the circle, I think I will help the middle class individuals, especially parents, by shifting the way they define success. Instead of measuring wealth by what they have compared to their past poverty, they will learn to measure it by financial independence, asset accumulation, and generational wealth transfer. Now, for myself and middle-class families today, I wanted to do 4 things. Expose the illusion of wealth. Many feel financially secure because they have a house, they have a car, and stable income. But they don't realize that these are liabilities unless they generate wealth. I had to learn the hard way why these markers don't equal financial freedom. Number 2, identify the traps: debt-driven lifestyles, consumption-based spending, and reliance on active income, salary-dependent living. I wanted to see where I am stuck. Number 3, draft a wealth-building framework. Instead of just saving for security, I wanted to learn to invest for financial growth. I wanted to think in terms of assets and pass on wealth-creating habits to my children. And number 4, redefine financial education for children. parents will be equipped with strategies to teach their children not just to earn money, but to multiply it. Now, this means a shifting from get a good job mindset to owning and creating value. This is especially personal to me because my son is about to graduate from university with a business degree and my daughter is a medical doctor. I must make a confession, a therapeutic confession, that as a parent in a middle-class family, if I don't change my thinking, I will unknowingly lock my children into the same financial struggles. And by breaking this cycle, they can move from temporary financial comfort to long-term financial mastery. Yes, I want to break the middle-class trap and redefine wealth beyond a comparative mindset. If I don't do that, then I feel I would have failed the generations ahead of me, my children, their children, and their children's children. I was once the wheelbarrow kid. My childhood was a cycle of instability. I attended 13 schools, lived in institutions, and even experienced homelessness. I know poverty in its rawest form. When I finally moved into the middle class, I realized something troubling. Many who consider themselves financially secure are in reality just one economic shock away from struggle. Their wealth is relative, better than poverty, but not enough to achieve financial independence, true financial independence. So I asked myself the question, why the middle class remains trapped in a cycle of financial vulnerability despite appearing comfortable? Firstly, I think that the primary issue is a comparative mindset, defining wealth not by actual financial freedom, but by contrast to past lack. The result is a class of people who feel rich because they have more than they used to, yet fail to break through the true generational wealth. Ouch. That hurts me more than you can imagine. I want to offer practical, evidence-based strategies for middle-class families to redefine wealth, to change their financial habits, and to equip their children with the mindset that transcends this invisible ceiling. There is such a thing called relative and absolute wealth. The middle class tend to measure wealth by lifestyle improvements rather than true financial independence. We may have high incomes, but rely on active work. Wealthy people have assets to generate income, freeing them from financial dependence on a salary. Middle-class families often accumulate liabilities, mortgages, car loans, and consumer debt, mistaking these for wealth. This includes me. Thomas Stanley, in his book, The Millionaire Next Door, which was gifted to me in a bookstore in New York, reveals that true wealth builders prioritize investment over consumption. I just think that relatively rich means relatively poor. There is a psychological trap why middle class stagnates. Behavioral economists such as Daniel Kahneman and Richard Thaler highlight the satisfaction plateau. That is, once people escape poverty, they psychologically settle their new standard of living. They become comfortably stuck. Additionally, middle-class families often adopt a scarcity mindset from their past struggles, leading to overemphasis on job security rather than wealth building. fear of risk and investment. Teaching children to seek stability over financial mastery. Now, I want to touch a sore point, but just know that it is coming from a good heart. The wealth cycle versus the salary cycle. Poor families rely on survival income, that is daily wages. Middle class families rely on salary income, monthly earnings. Wealthy families rely on passive and asset-based income, that is money working for them. Middle class earners stay trapped because they do not transition from income dependency to asset accumulation. Now, I started adopting a new wealth framework for myself, and I want to dare propose it to you if you fall into the category of a middle class family. To help middle class families and their children break free, I want to propose 4 key mindset shifts from salary to ownership. Stop teaching children to just get a good job. Instead, instill an ownership mentality. Business, real estate, investments. They must have an entrepreneurial mindset. From spending to investing. Every middle class family should prioritize investing over upgrading their lifestyle. From security to growth. Financial security is a stepping stone, not the goal. The focus should be on multiplying income streams. And then from assets for use to assets for wealth. A house is not an asset if it doesn't generate income. Shift from consumer ownership to wealth generating ownership. If we are going to teach wealth principles to the next generation, we must reverse engineer financial education for our children by encouraging entrepreneurial thinking over employment dependency. Now, I'm not saying that they must not work, but even while they are working, they need to work with an entrepreneurial mindset. Teaching about cash flow and passive income early. Exposing children to wealth building environments, investment clubs, business communities, network, etc. By intentionally guiding children from middle class financial habits, families can generate a generational shift towards financial independence. The middle class is not the final destination. No. It is a transition point. But many get trapped there because they measure wealth by past poverty, not by future freedom. Now, we can change our financial blueprint and actively break the generational cycle of financial stagnation. If families want to secure a different future for their children, they must change the conversation from how to make a living to how to build lasting wealth. Middle class families have the power to break free, but it starts with unlearning everything we once believed about wealth. Listen, I was born in extreme poverty. I did not choose it. I was born into it. And if you are born into poverty, it is harder to get out of it. I went to 13 different schools, not because I loved a diversified experience, but because I lived in institutions, in a children's home, a youth center for delinquent boys, and a place of safety and detention, which is actually a juvenile prison. I know what it is to live on the streets and pick from bins to eat. I was what society would call a statistic, someone unlikely to break out of poverty. But social workers and police, when they wanted to illustrate what poor or hopeless was, they would refer to us. That is why people who want to be inspired I'm not hesitant to pay for the coaching program, The Wheelbarrow Kid, because they know that it is an extreme program and real at the same time. Now, I can say a lot. However, I want to take a leap and make an intentional shift in the narrative and gratefully say that through God's grace and mercy, through the help of others, through resilience and education, I moved into the middle class. I earned a degree, more than one, got a home, more than one, a car, more than one, a career, changed more than once. By every metric, compared to my past, I made it. I was not poor anymore. And yet, I realized something troubling. I was still financially vulnerable. I was stable but vulnerable. Worse, I saw this mindset forming in my own children. They had comforts I never have. But comfort is not wealth. I started a discovery of painful truths and harsh realities, and then started to challenge the invisible glass ceiling of middle-class thinking, and in search of the pathway for breaking out of the cycle permanently. Let me give you a different background from the boy who grew up in poverty. My name is Paul Charles. I am a learning expert, and my Doctor of Psychology degree is focused on cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. I have a master's degree in education and a bachelor's degree in theology. I am a certified ethics officer and a qualified business rescue practitioner. I help people to think. I am the recipient of the prestigious Social Entrepreneurship Award in Education in 2019 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And then in 2023, I was awarded the coveted Global Investor in People Award in Dubai by ASIC UK for resilient learning. And there's a reason why I am sharing this with you. And it is going to shock you. But wait for it. I am the author of 28 books, and my recent book is Resilient Learning, the blueprint for success in school and life. By all conventional standards, I made it. I broke the cycle of poverty, and I did, by God's providence. But I was still relatively poor, because relatively poor is same as being relatively wealthy. Economists define relative poverty as the state of being better off than some, but still lacking in financial security. And now the middle class is relatively rich compared to the poor, yet remains relatively poor compared to those with generational wealth. What are the key characteristics of the middle class trap? Income, not assets. Middle class families rely on earned income rather than passive wealth accumulation. Debt-driven lifestyle. Homes and cars are financed through debt, making them liabilities, not assets. No wealth multiplication. Savings exist, but they are rarely invested at a scale that leads to true financial independence. I think it was Warren Buffett who said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Now, most middle-class families work until retirement with no financial engine sustaining future generations. Take it from me, I am telling you that the biggest obstacle to wealth is not income, it's mindset. Behavioral economists refer to this as the anchoring bias, the tendency to compare financial success to past struggles rather than future potential. Middle-class parents say, we never have this, so now our kids can have it. Wealth builders, on the other hand, say we build systems so our children never rely on income alone. Now, a powerful study by Thomas Stanley found that 80% of first-generation millionaires did not inherit wealth, but they created it by avoiding middle-class spending habits. True wealth builders invest before they consume, while the middle class consumes before they invest. As parents, we need to rewire our children's understanding of wealth. Number one, we need to teach asset-based thinking. Middle-class children often inherit financial habits, not wealth. Parents must redefine financial success from salary size to asset ownership. We need to prioritize wealth education over formal education alone. Now look who's talking. The middle class emphasizes degrees, while the wealthy emphasize financial literacy. A degree without investment knowledge leads to high income earners who remain broke. We need to shift from employee thinking to ownership thinking. Now, the middle class trains children to get a good job. The wealthy train their children to create jobs. We must encourage entrepreneurial skills. Let children run micro businesses, invest in stocks, or understand real estate before adulthood. We have to build generational wealth structures. Most middle-class families leave behind expenses, funeral costs, debts, while the wealthy leave behind assets, businesses, trusts, investments. We must change the narrative. The greatest danger for middle-class families is comfort that masquerades as wealth. True financial freedom is not measured by income, but by ownership, investment, and financial legacy. So here's a call to action for middle-class parents. Stop measuring wealth by comfort. Measure it by financial security and dependence. Teach children that a high salary is not the goal. Wealth multiplication is. Move from being income earners to wealth builders so that your children do not repeat the cycle of financial dependency. As the wheelbarrow kid, I broke out of poverty, but breaking into true wealth requires a new paradigm shift, one that every middle-class family must embrace to escape the invisible ceiling that keeps them trapped in middle class. We have to rethink. We need a paradigm shift and a breakthrough mindset. So let's talk about this for a moment. Number one, education equals security versus education equals leverage. Middle class mindset is get a good education, earn a degree, and secure a stable job with benefits. Breakthrough mindset is this: yes, education is crucial, but I must include financial literacy, entrepreneurial thinking, and high income skills. Learning how money works, how to invest, how to create wealth is more valuable than just getting a high-paying job. Number two, work hard versus work smart. Middle-class mindset: if you work hard, you will be successful. Long hours and dedication leads to wealth. Breakthrough mindset is hard work alone does not create wealth. Smart work does. Leveraging systems, automation, investments, and passive income streams is the key to financial growth. Number three, live below your means versus expand your means. The middle class mindset is budget carefully, save what you can, and avoid unnecessary expenses. The breakthrough mindset is this: while being responsible with money, it is important. Real wealth comes from increasing your income, not just cutting your expenses. Learn to multiply your money through investments and business ventures. And number 4, debt is bad versus debt can be a tool. Middle class mindset is avoid debt at all costs. It's dangerous and will trap you. Breakthrough mindset is not all debt is bad. Consumer debt, credit cards, car loans, can be harmful, but strategic debt that is leveraging loans for real estate, business investments, can build wealth if managed wisely. Number 5, a house is your greatest asset versus your income producing assets are your greatest asset. Now, middle class mindset is this: buying a home is the ultimate financial goal. It's the best investment you can make. I am guilty of that. But breakthrough mindset is a house is not an asset unless it generates income. True wealth comes from owning assets like rental properties, businesses, stocks, and intellectual property that generate passive income. Number 6, savings equals wealth versus investments equals wealth. Middle class mindset says saving money in a bank account and let it grow safely over time. Breakthrough mindset is saving is good, but investing is better. Money sitting in a bank loses value to inflation. Instead, invest in assets that appreciate, such as real estate, stocks, and businesses. And number 7, fear of risk versus calculated risk taking. The middle class mindset is play it safe, stick to secure jobs, avoid risky investments, and don't take financial risks. Breakthrough mindset is calculated risks lead to breakthroughs. The wealthy embrace risks, but mitigate them through knowledge, through strategy, and diversification. Number 8, one income stream versus multiple income streams. Middle class thinking is focus on your salary and climb the corporate ladder. Breakthrough mindset is one income stream is financial vulnerability. The wealthy multiply income streams through businesses, investments, side hustles, royalties to create true financial freedom. Now, by shifting from a security mindset to a wealth building mindset, middle class families like yours and mine can break free from financial limitations and create generational wealth. I know what it's like to struggle. I've been there. There was a time when I didn't know how I was going to make it. I looked around and I saw others succeeding and I wondered, why not me? Maybe you've worked hard, but it feels like there's always something holding you back. If that's you, I understand. I wasn't born into wealth. I wasn't handed success. I had to fight for it. And God made a way. I'm not special. I'm like you. I had dreams, I had struggles, and I had doubts. If you've ever looked at your life and thought, there has to be more, then you and I have something in common. I used to think the same way. But here's what I learned. God's blessings are not just for few people. They are for all who are willing to believe and take action. Look at where you are now. Think back to where you started. Remember when you had just one pair of shoes? If you had any at all. When even getting to school was a struggle. When owning a home seemed impossible. But today, by God's grace, you are not there anymore. You have a home. You drive your own car. Your children are in university or school. Can you see how far you've come? Do you feel that? Can you identify with me? I'm not talking to those who have never known struggle and poverty. I'm talking to you, the ones who made it out of poverty. You were once poor, but you are not poor anymore. You used to wonder where the next meal would come from, but now you are planning your next vacation. You used to rent a small room. Now you have a house of your own. We are not where we used to be, but we are also not at the top yet. Does that sound like you? Do you see yourself in my story? I thank God for how far He has brought us. We were once at the bottom, struggling just to survive. But now we are stable, we are comfortable, we have choices, yet deep inside we know there's more. We made it out of poverty, but what's next? Do you feel that? Do you resonate with what I am saying? We are not poor anymore, but let's be honest. We are also not rich either. We are in between. We are in that space where we have more than we used to, but not as much as we could. We don't lack, but we don't have full freedom yet. We've broken free from poverty, and have we broken free from limitation? Does that hit home for you? Can you relate? We've walked the same road. We know what it's like to have nothing, and we know what it's like to work our way up. We don't take what we have for granted, isn't it? But now we are at a crossroads. The question is, do we stop here? Do we push for more? Can you see yourself in this? Are you with me? I'm not here talking about being stuck. I'm here to talk about breaking free. We broke free from poverty, yes, but now it's time to break free from the middle class mindset. I'm in the middle of this journey right now, and I can tell you, it's a whole new level of transformation and thinking. Have you ever felt like you've reached a plateau? Like you've come so far, but something is holding you back? That's where I was. But I'm telling you, there's another side to this. I've already started breaking through, and I want to take you with me. Are you ready? I've listened to billionaires speak, literally. I've sat in the homes of bankers. I've dined with statesmen and presidents and walked alongside the wealthy. I've watched them. I've learned from them. I've studied their ways. And yes, I've heard the lectures, the condescending tones, the sarcastic remarks, the just do this attitude, as if success is a simple formula anyone can just plug into and be successful. But here's the thing. I don't want to talk at you from the finish line. I want to walk with you on the journey. I am not just studying success. I am actively breaking through this middle class mindset right now as we speak. I'm experiencing the shift, and it's exhilarating. I have never even realized there was a ceiling until I started pushing against it. And now I can't unsee it. But I don't want to break through alone. I want you to come with me. I want us to break free together. This isn't about wishing or hoping. It's about doing. And I'm not waiting until I've made it to turn around and tell you what you should do. No, 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 no. I'm inviting you in real time to take this step with me. Let's break through this ceiling together. You don't have to wait for all the videos to drop before taking action. If something in you is stirring right now, if you feel inside that you are meant for more, then don't just watch this journey. Step into it. I am looking for a few serious people who are hungry, who are committed and ready to invest in this transformation. I don't have the time or energy to work with everyone. But if you know this is for you, let's connect now. Let's start breaking through together. And for those who are still processing, keep following along, because I'll be sharing more in the coming videos. Yes, I will do that. You know, I've been thinking a lot about where I came from. I wasn't born into wealth. I know what it is to struggle. I do not have enough to wonder how to make it to the next day. I know what that means. But here's the thing, I'm not poor anymore. And I know many of you watching can say the same. Many of you went to school without shoes. Now you have many pairs. Some of you once struggled to find taxi fare. Now you own a car or two. Some of you grew up in homes where every cent was stretched. Now you own your own home. Some of you barely made it through school. Now your children are in private schools, in universities. Can you identify with me? Can you resonate with what I am saying? We are no longer poor. We've made it into the middle class. And for that, we thank God. We have broken free from poverty mindset. But here's what I've realized. The middle class has its own glass ceiling, its own limits, its own mindsets that keep us from reaching even further. And I'm not here to talk about wealth after I've broken through. No. I want to walk this journey with you. Again, I will say, I've listened to billionaires. I've stayed in the homes of bankers and walked with those who have made it big. I've heard the advice. I've watched the videos. I've seen how they talk down to people, making it sound like we should have figured it out by now. But it's not so easy. But I don't want to wait until I've reached the next level to speak to you. No, I don't want to stand at the finish line and tell you what to do and where you should go. No, I want to experience this breakthrough with you. I want to walk this path with those who are hungry, those who are ready, those who feel deep inside that they were meant for more. So here's what I'm saying. I'm looking for 12 people, not just anyone. Not those who just want to listen and be entertained and find out when's your next video. No, I'm looking for 12 people who are ready to break through the middle class mindset, who are willing to commit, to sacrifice, to invest, and step into something bigger. You don't have to wait for the next video. If this is speaking to you, react, reach out right now. Let's start this journey together. And for those who are still processing, keep following along. I'll be sharing more. But for the 12 who know that this is for them, you feel it, let's break through together. When I was poor, I mean homeless, dirty, and hungry poor, I could clearly see there was no path to take that would get me out of poverty. It's not like you came to a fork in the road and if you turn left instead of right, you will be wealthy. It was not so simple. It was going to be a struggle with multiple scars and bruises along the way. There is no road out of poverty, not even the road less traveled. Let me get out with it. You need to climb a ladder, the ladder of success. Yes, there is a ladder from poverty to middle class, and it is visible and structured, while the ladder from the middle class to wealth is hidden until you truly desire it. That enlightenment was profound for me. Now let's refine this. There are two ladders, and climbing into wealth requires a different approach. Imagine climbing a ladder from poverty to the middle class. It's tough, but the steps are clear. Get an education, develop a skill, find a stable job or small business, save, budget, and avoid major financial pitfalls. That's the ladder. The middle class is like a platform, a safe zone where things are predictable. But here's the catch. The next ladder, the one that leads from middle class to wealth, is not so obvious. No, it's not in front of you. No, it's on the other side of the platform. To find it, you must think differently. Now, most people don't realize this until it's too late. By the time they start looking, they are tired. And from the first climb, they are tired. So they convince themselves, maybe I should just be content. Wealth is for the lucky or the gifted. Or at least I have a decent life. I am quite happy with now. Now, most people never break through because they never search for the second ladder. They assume that the climb is over. But for those who truly desire more, the ladder appears. And then the real climb begins. The second ladder does not extend from the first one. It's not a continuation of the climb that you've already made. No, it's not an extension of the same strategies, the same habits, and the same way of thinking that got you to the middle class. No, that's why so many people stop here. They expect that if they work a little harder, save a little more, or get a better promotion, they'll somehow transition into wealth. But that's not how it works. Why the ladder does not extend from the middle class? The path from poverty to the middle class is linear and structured. Society has already built the system. Get it? Get an education or a marketable skill. Get a stable job or start a small business. Save, invest conservatively, and build assets over time. It's like a staircase. If you follow the general rules, you will move up. But the transition from middle class to wealth doesn't work that way. There is no staircase leading up. The ladder on the other side of the platform, that's where it starts. To get there, you need to move differently. I'm talking from painful experience. To break through, you have to switch strategies entirely. Hard work alone won't cut it anymore. You need to think leverage. You need to think ownership. You need to think systems rather than effort. The middle class isn't a bad place. It's a better place than where many of us started, isn't it? But is it where you want to stay? If you keep doing the same thing, you'll stay where you are. The next level requires a mental breakthrough before a financial breakthrough. It requires a new set of rules, a willingness to unlearn the habits, and the boldness to step off the platform you've built for yourself. Are you looking for the second ladder? And are you hoping the first one will magically extend? Your next move will determine your future. Now, I want to summarize all of this quickly. Most people believe that if they just work harder, save more, and stay the course, they'll eventually reach financial freedom. But what if I told you that's not how it works? You see, there are two ladders in life. Yes, the first ladder takes you from poverty to the middle class. It's visible, it's structured, and widely accepted. The second takes you from the middle class to wealth. But here's the problem. It's not in front of you. It's hidden. Most people never find it because they assume that the climb is over when they reach middle class. They think, if I just do more of the same, I'll get there. But the truth is, the ladder to wealth does not extend from the middle class. You can't just climb higher using the same approach that got you here. If you work harder, you'll just get tired. If you save more, inflation and expenses will hold you back. If you get a promotion, your taxes and lifestyle costs rise with it. What got you here won't get you there. So what's the real path to wealth? How do you find the second ladder? That was my quest. The answer is a mind shift change. A mindset shift. A completely different way of thinking about money, about opportunity, and about success. Wealth isn't built by working harder. No, no, no. It is built by leveraging systems, ownership, and strategic risk. The wealthy don't climb. They shift, they reposition and multiply. And most people never break through because no one ever told them there's a different game being played at the next level. Now, I want to show you what the game is. I want to help you see the hidden ladder, because once you do, you'll never be the same again. Are you ready to stop climbing the wrong way? Do you want to break through? If something in you is stirring right now, if you feel that quiet voice saying, there has to be more, then this moment is yours. It's for you. The middle class is a comfortable place, but it is also a trap. Most people get here, look around and assume this is where the journey ends. But I refuse to believe that. I refuse to let the invisible ceiling hold me down. And I refuse to let it hold you down. If you are willing. If you've heard about the program Resilient Wealth Creation, Creating Multi-Generational Wealth, then you'll know this. I didn't just read about these principles. I wrote the program for multi-generational wealth creation. I live it, and I'm walking through this journey right now. My name is Paul Charles, and I'm breaking through the invisible ceiling of the middle class. I have seen what's on the other side, and I want to take you there with me if you are ready. I've made my choice. Now the choice is yours. Are you